Hello, welcome back again to ISGP. My name is Richard Cree and this is my video show. Normally I do rules and playthroughs, but right now I'm counting down my top 100 games because it's something I like to do. I am working on the Eldritch Horror rules playthrough, so hopefully I'll have that up here momentarily, but in the meantime, let's keep on pushing through with our next 10 games in my top 100.
Guildhall.
Guildhall.
Right. On the surface, my number 70 game may seem like just another set collection game, but there's a lot of depth inside Guildhall to help keep it on my list. Guildhall, you're collecting these sets or these chapters to put in your Guildhall, and each chapter has to contain a profession, the same profession but of a different color. So let's say you're collecting historians. We'd have a blue, a purple, a red, a green, and a yellow historian. That would collect your set. But the meat of it, the game, is actually we were playing these villagers, these professions, down into your action area, and then once you're in your action area, you can do their ability, and their ability can be helping you, hurting opponents, but what you're trying to do though is get enough of those cards of different colors into your chapter that you can close off that chapter, start a new one. But those closed chapters can then be used to purchase victory points throughout the game. There's also an expansion called Job Fair, which actually, if you notice, I keep my both sets are actually in my Job Fair box, which adds even another set of cards. Guildhall is a great entry-level, very light level game, great gateway game for bringing new players in, fun for the family. Enjoy one of mine, and that is my number 70, Guildhall.
Number 99, Pinch Car.
My top 100 doesn't contain a lot of sports games. It's not necessarily one of my favorite themes to play. However, my next two games always seem to come in neck and neck beside each other because they both have the same similar theme but both play very differently. The first one is a fantastic family game, a great racing game that even my 2-year-old daughter can play. And that is, oh my goodness, heavy box, Pitch Car. In Pitch Car, you're setting up a racetrack of these big wooden roads along with these bumper boundaries. And the cars you're racing are just these little wooden discs. And you're pitching them or flicking them with your finger around the track, and that's it. That's the rules. The track is modular, so it can be built in all kinds of different formations, and there's expansions to it that allow you to have like a bridge or a ramp or a crossways, so that the cars racing may hit each other as they're coming across that way. A lot of fun, great for everybody. I think it holds up to 10 players, maybe 8. Should hold more. We play with more than that, but it's just great fun. Everyone seems to enjoy playing Pitch Car.
Number 9, number the D.
Alright, so those of you who know me, know my list. If number 69 is Pitch Car, you're a pretty safe bet that the number 68 is another racing game, just a little bit meatier, but one that everyone seems to enjoy playing just as much, and that is Formula D or Formula Day if you have the original version. And in Formula Day you have these little cars that you're racing around the track, but the dice are what sells this game. The dice are based on the gear. So in first gear you have a 4-sided dice that only has a 1 and a 2 on it, so you're going to roll a 1 or a 2. And then second gear is the same way, but it's a 6-sided dice, and it only has, I believe, 3 through 5 on it. And so you're slowly accelerating as you shift up through the gears based on these custom dice. And the game is just a blast. A lot of times people just like doing one race around. Sometimes that can take a while, but you really need to do 2 laps because the game can really change that second lap. Trust me, I know. The game itself comes with a double-sided board, but you can buy extra boards for extra racetracks, and I believe there's a whole bunch printed online you can download and have those to race on as well. But I definitely recommend, if you have people that, Pitch Car is fun, it's a little bit light, I like racing, but I want something with a little more meat to a little more depth to it, Formula D, that's where you're going to find it. And that's why it's number 68 on my list.
Number 90, this is the car game.
Okay.
Alright, my number 67 is a game. It's actually a card version of a larger game. A larger game has been reprinted as well. I think it's on its 2nd edition, so I guess it's kind of a 3rd edition of sorts to the game. That game is Dungeon Twister, and Dungeon Twister, the card game, is number 67 on my list. I want to get Dungeon Twister for a while. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but at $70, that's a bit of a price drop for me to get a two-player game that I'm not really sure if I'd enjoy or not. However, having purchased a card game, I can pretty well safely say that Dungeon Twister Prison is probably not too far off from being in my collection. But in Dungeon Twister, you are doing just that. You are twisting these cards around all over the place. Each card is, it's four-sided of course, but it's a square, and depending on which way the card is facing depends on which area of the room there is. And of course, just as in Dungeon Twister, these rooms don't stay in the same place for very long. They can be rotated left or right. The walls can be smashed down in them. The only problem I have with the card game, which is why I would like to probably get the actual Dungeon Twister game over this one, is that with the cards, because each card represents what's in that room, you can have a lot of cards out beside each room. I think each room holds up to 3 cards. So if you have a row of 2 cards each, plus your peoples, plus your turn counters on the side, you have cards laid out on the side, that can get a little confusing, just keeping track of to what's in what room and who's where. And the icons help a lot. That's fantastic. But at the same point, it can be a little confusing. I think I like to have the board with the miniatures, but that's just me. But if you're not sure about Dungeon Twister and you are looking for a game that's very similar to find out if you want to play it, I definitely want to recommend Dungeon Twister, the card game.
Number 96, this is the guiding.
Alright, collectible card games. I am not a big fan of these. I don't like going out and buying these little packs for $3 and ending up with the same cards I've gotten over and over and over again. That being said, that does not mean that the collectible card games are bad games. And just recently, Magic the Gathering came out with a new format for their games, simply called Magic Commander. This is only 4. I think there's 5 sets altogether. There's a blue set I don't have yet. But in Magic the Gathering, this is everything you need for one player. But what makes the Magic Gathering Commander better than the regular Magic is, one, it uses the same Magic core rules, but it has this commander in it. And this is everything you need right here. For me, I could buy this and I'm done. Well, okay, and a friend would have to buy this, or I have to buy it for my friend to play. But essentially, 2 sets, you're done. It's everything you need right here. You can combine it with your other sets, but there are certain rules. The deck has to be 100 cards, and one of them has to be designated as a commander. Each one of these comes with a very large commander card, an oversized commander card that you can use to represent the commander when he's on the field, but if you get sent back to your deck, there's a smaller regulation size card that fits back in the deck. But basically, with the commander aspect of it, he can be sent out to fight, but each time he goes out, because he's so powerful, it's going to cost you more and more to send him out each time. So it costs extra 2 land, or extra 2 mana every time you send him out. This, to me, this is how Magic should be done. I like Magic. I get Magic in the actually larger sets, so I know they're not, not that many powerful cards are in there. My chances of getting the powerful cards are not that great. I'll never play tournament for any. Actually, I'll never play tournament for any card game. I'm just not that competitive. But if you're going to play Magic, if you've never played Magic before, this is where you come in and do it right here, and that's it. The end. I mean, there's some other good card games out there, like, Yu-Gi-Oh. I like the Yu-Gi-Oh card game the same way I'll buy the tins, but I'm not going to buy the individual blisters, although that's really what's all in the tins. But I think comparing the two, I think the Magic system, the ability to be able to choose whether I want to defend against an opponent, I like that aspect better than the Yu-Gi-Oh version, although I grew up with the cartoons, so a little bit of nostalgia there for the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. Pokemon, it's okay. I can take it, I can leave it. I'm not as big into it as some other people. But as far as the CCGs go, it's king for a reason. Magic the Gathering, and specifically Commander, and at my number 66.
Number 9, basic.
In a lot of cooperative games, it's very easy for an alpha player to stand out and take over the game because they know what they do, they played it so much. Okay, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. In the game Space Cadets, yes, there's an alpha player because there's a captain saying, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, you're gonna do that. But it's not just so much you need to play that card. each person still has to do their own thing because each person will be playing a mini game of sorts, trying to accomplish the goals that the captain has ordered them to do, or whatever role they're playing, whether it's engineer or weapons officer or navigator. A very, very unique take on the aspect of the cooperative card game, and one that ensures you just can't sit back when it's not your turn. Although, hopefully, in a cooperative game, you're not doing that. You need to be invested in what the other players are doing because it could affect what you're going to do. But this is a great aspect because not only is everybody playing at the same time, but everybody's doing something different at the same time. And if you don't like what you're doing, you can swap with somebody else and do something that you want to do. There's, mind puzzles, dexterity puzzles. A great little twist on the cooperative game, one I enjoy enough to put at number 65 on my list, and that's Space Cadets.
Number 94, the Stick Skits.
I like social games. I love Werewolf, but Werewolf can get too clunky sometimes because you need so many people to play it, and you need a moderator. Also, it has player elimination, which I'm not a big fan of, which means if you're the first one out in a game of Werewolf, you could wander around and go shopping or be passed out on the couch before the game ends and you're ready to start something else. However, Indie Games has the Resistance, which I can have the 10 people playing rebels or corporate spies, or trying to bring down the evil corporation of the future. Everybody gets to play in the Resistance. Everybody plays at the same time, and it's done with a voting method, kind of like in Werewolf, but in this case, everybody's just trying to decide who's going to go on a mission, and you have 5 turns to figure out, after all these missions, who the bad guys are. Because the bad guys are the corporate spies, they're going to try and make these missions fail, where the good guys, they want to make them succeed. If you're a big fan of deduction games, bluffing games, this is a great one. And if you're not a big fan of the dystopian future kind of sci-fi theme, they have also the Avalon. The Avalon? It's called the Avalon. They have Avalon, that is the fantasy version, or King Arthur version of this. The exact same game, although it adds Merlin, which gives the bad guys an extra advantage that if they can, even though they may have been figured out who, the good guys figured out who the bad guys were, if the bad guys can figure out who Merlin is, and they can assassinate Merlin, then they win. I like the Resistance. It's great. It shows me, you know, they with Merlin's, that's pretty cool. But just all the discussion, the bluffing, and the back and forth, and the accusations. A fantastic game for a great price, and that's the Resistance.
Next in 6, Dominion.
Okay.
Alright, I'm not even going to joke around. Number 63 is Dominion. This box is very heavy. Dominion has like 9 expansions. They're all in here. I'm a big fan of deck builders, and this was the one that started it all. Dominion is a game you start off with just a few points and some cash in your hand, cards, and you're using that cash to buy more cards to let you do more things, more actions, buy more cards, get more money, do more things. And you're trying to manage that hand of cards because you only have 6 cards in your hand at any given time. It could be 5 cards in Dominion, 5 cards in your hand at any given time. And being able to maximize those cards, get the dead weight out of your hand and get the best stuff into your hand at all times, that's what Dominion's all about. The fact that there's all those expansions, the possibilities for Dominion are endless, and I mean endless. There are some combinations that don't work out all that well together. Each rule set has a couple of different play sets that work out well, but mix, match, there's all kinds of randomizers out there, app-wise. But man, if you never played a deck builder, this is a good one. This is one you can really introduce people to. Another great gateway game, very simple, very intuitive, and at this point in my collection, very heavy. This is the Seaside box. It's an expansion, so the actual Dominion comes in a different box, but if you've not played Dominion yet, I really think you should. Go out, check it out. My number 63, Dominion.
62, the Star Wars card game.
Alright, my number 62 game is another card game. This one's a little bit closer to the Magic that we talked about earlier, but instead of a collectible card game, this one's what's called a living card game, which means that every time I buy a set of the cards, I know exactly what I'm getting. There are no booster packs, random booster packs. Every piece of this game that you buy will be the same. So if I bought a certain pack of Search for Skywalker. Then the next one would also, buy another Search for Skywalker, would be the same set of cards. And because I've said Search for Skywalker, that should cue you in that I'm talking about Star Wars, the living card game. I don't have the box for mine anymore. I keep all the cards in this binder. And for me, that's a lot easier because I can go through it, I can see the cards. Because in this one, when I build my deck, I'm not just putting a single card or a couple of single cards, getting the most powerful cards in there. I have to get a set of 6 cards. If I want Han Solo, I have to get all the other cards that go with Han Solo. A set of 6 cards. And your deck's going to consist of about 8 or so of these sets. So you have around 40-ish cards in your deck. And you're playing these out, trying to defeat the other person's supply chain. So I'll have a couple of bases. As rebels, you want to blow up those bases. And as a Pros, you want to blow up those bases. Once you've blown up 3 of the bases, and that's it. The Imperial can also win. There's a Death Star counter. Once the Death Star counter cuts all the way down, then the Empire has won there as well. It's kind of a timer for the game. But this game has grown on me. It's been on my list for a while, mainly because it's Star Wars. But no, it's actually a really good game, really challenging. The broader variety of cards that has come out has made it more fun for me. Now you can play the scoundrels and the mercenaries, or you can be the they call it scum and villainy, so it's like Jabba and Greedo and Boba Fett, the bounty hunters. It's great. It really is fun. That balance that those cards give, the fact that you have to get all 6 of them, so you're going to have good cards, you're going to have not so good cards. But there are ways, strategies in the game to get rid of those bad cards out of your hand like there are in any card game. But this one's I'm really enjoying it. I look forward to playing it. I look forward to more sets. It just came out with a 4-player version where you can play 2-on-2 or 3-on-1. And it's really, I recommend it. My number 61, Star Wars, the card game.
991, 660 worst.
No.
Alright, and that brings us to my number 61 game. We'll close it out with another card game. This one about superheroes. This is Sentinels of the Multiverse. Sentinels of the Multiverse is where you get to be a superhero, similar to all the ones that are out there in existence. They have an Iron Man kind of character, a Superman kind of character, a Batman kind of character, a Hulk kind of character, a Thor kind of character. So they're all in here, just called something different. But you really get to be them. You get to have their powers and perform their powers. And it's cooperative games. You're all teaming up to fight the villain of some kind. There's a lot of villains in here. Well, and this here there are. This is the base set plus all the expansions. And there's a lot of villains. A lot of heroes to choose from also. And each one plays differently. But this game can get a little mathy. There are a lot of hit points going back and forth. So you're doing damage to the villain, and the villain's doing damage back to you. And there's stats effects that can sometimes get number crunchy. But it's all about the cards that you have in your hand. It's or in front of you, excuse me. The cards that you play in front of you, when you play them, what powers can you do, when do you do them. There are environmental effects that come into play. The villain has its henchmen, there's special abilities that come into play. This is not for everybody. I'm about to say, hey, everybody loves this game. No, not everybody loves this game. Some people, it goes a little slow, gets a little number crunchy for them. But for me, I like it. I think it's one of the best superhero games out there. Short of mine. Although mine's more villainy, not so much heroes, but we'll talk about that later. And I'm saying, this is fantastic. This is great. I think I almost always play the bunker because I'm a big... People say I'm a big Iron Man fan. I don't know where they're getting that from. But if you haven't played it yet, I definitely would recommend borrowing it first. Or like playing it with a friend or renting it somehow. Because like I said, it does get number crunch. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely for me, and it's at number 61. On my list. Alright, and I'll close out this video. But before I go through the normal spiel and rigmarole, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much everyone out there who has supported my videos, been watching them. I think the Robinson Crusoe video has over 300 views now, which is way more than I ever thought they would get. I appreciate that. If you enjoy them, spread the word. The more people you can watch them, the more of these I'll be able to do. If there are any games out there you want to see me do a rules video for, just let me know in the comments section, or you can let me know on our Facebook page, or email me if you can figure out my email. I may put up on one of these videos at some point. But yeah, let me know in the comment section, drop me a line to YouTube, and I'll see what I can do. If it's in my collection, I'll definitely do it. If it's not, I'll see what I can do to obtain it, to make a video. And let me know too, if you guys like the rules videos, you like the playthroughs. Just let me know. Is the playthroughs working for you? Great, I'll keep doing those too. Obviously, when I just do rules videos, I can expand beyond just solo games. So that's something to think about and look into. But again, I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you. And now I'm just going to close out by saying you can, like us on Facebook. That's Inner Games, Facebook, and you can follow us on Twitter. I don't tweet all that much, but I'll help you know when the new videos are out. You can check out our website, although it really hasn't been updated. If you've been there in the past couple of months, you're not going to see anything different. I'm going to try and get to it, but we're getting ready to move here in the next month or so, so I don't know how much time I'll have to get to the website and keep it maintained. But the best way you can show your support is just subscribe to our series. As those subscriptions build out, you communicate with me through the YouTube community. They built that up pretty well now. I try and respond back as I can. Again, I appreciate all the thank yous and the good feedback that I've gotten. I enjoy doing this. I'm glad that you're getting something out of it. And until next time, take care.
We're not said yet.
Almost done.
Okay, I'm gonna start.